problem. All right. So the Academic Advisors Toolkit is a central university resource. So it wasn't something I've made. I'd like to say I did, but that also helps because if there's anything you want to say about it today, I'm not going to be personally upset either. And hopefully we can take some feedback at the end, which can be passed back to the team who've created the resource. So as I said a few minutes ago, I'm really just going to walk you through the online resource and indicate what's available for you to draw on should you so wish. I expect this will only last about 30 minutes as well. To begin with, I'm going to share a video about academic advising just to give us some context. This video was made before lockdown as well, so obviously everything that we look at today we have to view through another lens, and that's the academic advising that we'll be doing this year or this term so far will be online. So I'm just going to share my screen and we'll just have a listen and a watch of this video. So hopefully you're seeing my screen now. Somebody shout out if you're not, and we'll start.
Well, the policy on academic advising was largely constructed to make sure that all students had a sense of belonging in the institution. So what we've tried to do is to make sure that every single taught student, so that's undergraduate or postgraduate taught, has an advisor associated with them. This will be a member of academic staff. And their role is to look after that student whilst the student progresses through their time at the university. So they'll take an interest in their academic progression, their well-being, and meet with the student regularly and start to talk to the student, get to know the student, and really start to understand how they can help the student, how the university can help the student really progress and make sure they reach their maximum potential.
So one of the reasons why I think academic advising is so important is that students need to feel as if they are valued within the university. We have a number of degree programmes where there are large numbers of students on that programme, and it is so easy for a student just to feel one in that big number, one student sitting in a lecture theatre with 600 other students. And so it's important that they have a member of staff who is looking out for them, making sure that they are progressing well through their degree programme, making sure that there's always someone for them to go and talk to if they have a problem.
So I think academic advising is really important because when students turn up to university, they kind of look around and they see all these academics with successful careers and everyone seems to have it figured out, and they look at themselves at the very start of this academic journey and I think they just feel like, you know, it's really natural for everybody else and you know, it's very difficult for them personally. So academic advising is a really good opportunity to kind of meet with those students and, you know, kind of address some of those fears and make them, you know, kind of make them aware that everybody is dealing with their own personal challenges, and that what they're going through is very normal and that actually they already have the set of skills they need to meet these challenges. It's just then building on those challenges in an incremental way that's going to help them to, you know, kind of achieve their broader career goals. And so I think academic advising is a really good way of building their confidence and, you know, kind of helping them to be resilient to those challenges.
So one of the other aspects of academic advising is to make sure that a student's skill set is as honed as it can be. As a student moves from joining the institution all the way through to graduation and then employment beyond, it is important to make sure that their academic skills and their transferable skills are as strong as they can be. And the academic advisor plays an important role in making sure that the student's skill set is as good as it can be.
I found academic advising useful in terms of being able to keep myself up to date with my work. When I'm independently studying, it's hard to really know how much you're doing, whereas having that point of contact is really important.
One of the biggest advantages I've had from academic advising is like feeling I've got a second family, because the way my academic advisor works is that like he truly like goes out of his way to like make sure that not just me but all of his academic advisees are enjoying their time at university, like not just regarding academics, so like making sure the courses are okay, they're selling in well, but also their general university experience is going well. So whenever I've had like academic advising sessions with him, he's always been like, okay, how is your course doing? And then he would follow up by saying, how are things at your student house? Are your friends all right? How are you enjoying Manchester? and just overall, I just feel like there's someone who truly cares, and that's just one of the best things I could have, like knowing that someone cares for me.
I would say academic advising does make you feel more included in the university, in that you've got lecturers or whoever is your advisor actually listening to you and taking on board what you're saying.
We're very keen to ensure that the academic advising function is a positive experience, both for students and advisors. It's easy to concentrate on the things that go wrong. A student comes to see you in crisis. And of course, an academic advisor plays an important role in that, not necessarily solving the problem, but making sure that a signpost is available to enable the student to get the help that they need. But that's only really represents a small portion of the work of an academic advisor. The majority is just making sure that students know where they are, know where they're going, know what sort of things they need to do to be able to progress academically, and again, reach their maximum potential. That's the most important thing.
Okay, and I think at the moment it's interesting, isn't it, seeing the campus and seeing students on it and sun and people around, and us not being able to do that right now. And I think it's that our role at the moment as academic advisors is more important than ever in the current situation. And so one of the resources then that the university has developed is this toolkit to support us in this role, because there's such a lot of information that the university provides and that students can ask us for, and there's no way we can hold all that in our heads. So I'm going to walk you through the toolkit, and I'm going to go through half of it. Then I'm going to give you an opportunity, 5 minutes or so, to do some browsing of those sections. And I'd like you to use that chat tool then to sort of point out anything that's useful or interesting to colleagues here, any feedback at all on those sections. And then in the last 15 minutes, I'm going to talk you through the last section of the toolkit. And we can do something similar again, an opportunity for you to browse around and look and see what's there. I hope that sounds okay. Do feel free to chip in questions, comments. Something in the chat, let me just get, oh, it's Lorna, she's showing that record, that's fine, that's great. So I'm going to now show you the toolkit. Hopefully, I shall share my screen again. And bear with me. Okay, so this is the front page of the toolkit, and the first thing to say is it's a really long front page. So if I scan down, so I think sometimes people only look at the top bit and don't realise actually just keep on going down because there's more information there. So no, like I say, in about 10 minutes you'll get an opportunity to browse some of these areas. At the very top you can hopefully, I hope it's large enough for you to read. Is it large enough for you to read, folks, or is it tiny? I don't know if anyone, is it okay? Yeah. Cheers, Paul. Thank you. It starts off with the 3 aspects of our role, which are the academic support we provide, the second one, pastoral wellbeing support, and the third one, careers support. And those are the 3 themes that the toolkit is divided into, and the resources are signposted via those 3 themes. So I'll just scroll down a little bit further. Firstly, this section here is a section that has lovely login, lots of videos, bear with me, I should just do this, lots of videos about aspects of advising. Okay, we're going back to, let's stop that share, we're not going to do that one again. Okay, it has a series of video resources for you to look at there. On the right here in this image, you can join the staff development web page and book on to online academic advisor training. So I'll click that, and hopefully that takes me, hopefully that's a familiar page to you all, and you'd log in as normal and access, which is currently now online academic advisor training. Scrolling down a little bit further, oh, this is the one I meant, academic advisor videos. There's a whole range of videos for academic advisors on different aspects of the role. So again, I'll just scroll up slowly so you can see what's there. I'm posting students, that's useful. There's ones on the academic advisor model, which I'll talk about later. And these are very useful, supporting students with mental health issues as well. So there's a whole range of those videos which you can browse shortly. I'll click back. Oh, nice, sorry. Okay. And this section, oh, sorry. I do apologise. It's all going wrong here, folks, sorry. Let me put that share on again. The section here on what to do in a crisis or emergency, I'm not going to deal with much today because the next webinar before Christmas in December is about counselling services. So I'd like to leave that one to the next webinar. Obviously, there's no reason why you can't browse that yourself shortly. So here, in this point on the toolkit, is just where we're going to go up to now for the first half of the session. And this is where it's split into the 3 aspects of your role. So what I want you to do shortly is give you sort of 5 or 6 minutes to explore those 3 areas and look at the available resources. And as you're doing that, I'd like you to, sorry. I do apologise. I do have my phone off, but I have an Apple Watch, and would you believe it's ringing me on my watch? So I really do apologise, and I don't know how to stop that. Let's hope it doesn't happen again. I'd like you to spend about 5 minutes browsing from the top of the toolkit just down to here. Don't go any further down, because in the next half I'm going to do of the session, I'm going to do the latter half. And what I'd like you to do is see what's available, see what you think of what's available, put in the chat when we come back anything that's useful for colleagues to look at. You may only get a chance to look at one in detail, or you might want to browse all of these and have a look at those. So let's spend about 5 minutes doing that. I'm going to put the link in the chat now, so bear with me while I get the link. And stop sharing that for now, and I'll put the link in the chat which will take you directly to that page. So it's about 17 minutes past. Let's look at again about 25 past, and we'll share with the chat and look at what's available on those that website up to those points. Okay. Do feel free to talk while we're all on together, so it's fine. Richard, excellent question. That's the $1 million question regarding the number of advisees per staff. Now, the standard answer to that is in terms of WAM points, no surprises there, and also in discussion with programme directors. So actually different people have different numbers, and I think on some courses where numbers are high, some people have an awful lot, 20 or 30 advisees, and others on smaller courses have fewer. I don't know what your experience is of that, Richard. I don't know if you want to unmute or anything.
I think we're looking at 20 or 30 currently in GDI.
In GDI, and that's a lot, isn't it, Richard?
It is a lot, yeah.
And is that worked into the 1 point model?
Well, I mean, the details of the WAM haven't really been finalised yet, so it's difficult to sort of calibrate, you know, the number of students according to the WAM model at the moment, because that isn't. I don't think that's going to be finalised until probably, you know, possibly after Christmas. So
yeah, I think there isn't a university-wide number associated with each academic, and it's very much programme based. And the existing academic advisor policy, which is a 2016 version, doesn't state that either. But again, I think it does ask for staff to go back to talk to their leads, their programme leads or head of school with regard to that. So Paul's got in GDI was 12, mainly international, B 19. So I think it's, you know, there'll be quite a varied number.
I think that, Liz, the situation in MIE is almost exactly what Richard has said about GDI. The 20 to 30 is typical. I think B's total of 32 is probably one of the higher numbers I've seen, but typically between 20 and 30. And as you've said, it's very much done at program level. And so a PD is likely to be perhaps approaching, I mean, particularly, let's say, a professor to say, you know, could you do 10, please? That would help us out. And so it isn't a standard number. In other words, it's PDs desperately trying to get an academic advisor for everyone on their programme from anyone they can approach to do it.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. And I think what's interesting is in MIE, they've been employing some senior tutors to take on that role. I don't know if you want to mention that, Stephen, in some programmes. I think you're muted, can't hear you at the moment.
Yeah, we're using senior tutors on DTCE, for example, and that's helping, but we still have a very high number, and it's a real problem. And we weren't allowed to use TAs, even though we have very experienced TAs who have been teachers and managers and things like that. So, I mean, there appear to be policies and practices, but yeah, it just seems to be pretty random. It's like, you know, the idea that our workload is nominally based around a 1 to 20 model, and again, you know, that just doesn't work.
It does. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, I think this is problematic and continues to be, and I think we have to keep asking for resource when it becomes you say the numbers become unmanageable in those ways, and referring again up to our teaching and learning directors and head of school to talk about where we need additional resource. So I'm not ignoring it, but I am going back to the toolkit because I don't want to miss some of the resources that we're going to share as well. So we've had a few points as well in the chat there. Narinda's talked about the writing reference section, what you should and shouldn't do in terms of supporting employability and careers. Bob there, good videos on different parts of the role. There really is, there's a huge video bank if you're sort of wanting to explore particular aspects which have come up and you want some advice with how to help with those. So that's really helpful. So I'm going to share my screen again to look at the latter half of the toolkit. So when we go down further, one of the things that is really hard is sometimes students expect you to have the answer to everything, and it's impossible to. And this is something I found very useful. So the A to Z of topics, if I click on that, there is a huge amount topics there on almost everything that you'd like to think you would be asked about. So if you just look at that, so often then I'm able to, if I'm not able to answer something, I'm able to find the answer elsewhere or signpost the student to one of these links as well. So that has been enormously helpful to me. So I really would recommend that to you. Because sometimes you want to email someone to find the answer, but actually there's a lot already on there. Going down further, the latter half of the page, there's some more resources here to support us in the role. There's this one here, talks about roles and responsibilities. And again, we're still referring to the 2016 academic advising policy. And what's quite interesting about that is it doesn't mention online academic advising, even though we have a number of distance courses have had some time. All of them are at the moment, but that needs updating. And I know that academic advising is being looked at with the student experience project, so undoubtedly we will be receiving some kind of updated version of that. Advisor training I've already mentioned. The model, the university does have a suggested model for running your academic advisor meetings. It's not, you don't have to use it. Many of us will already have a model that works really well for us. But for those who are interested in looking at an approach, this model is based on 4 themes: a discussion, followed by prioritising the targets or the actions that the student needs to take, how they're going to implement it, and encouraging them to be independent and being able to manage their time, manage their work, find the resources they need, and then a reflection on where they're at. So if you wanted to explore what that model looks like, there's some resources there. This I'm going to click on. This was developed from March when we all moved online, and this is really helpful for us now at the moment doing our academic advising online. So first of all, it talks about how to approach that. Secondly, some icebreakers if you're doing a group academic advising, some software and tools that you can use for the advising as well. And then finally, what to be mindful of when arranging these meetings. So I would refer you to that in terms of some support for doing it differently. I know we've got colleagues on here who've done this already a lot. I can recognise some faces and names who've worked on distance learning programs, and will have a lot of expertise there. There is a discussion group just about academic advising, and I'm part of this group, the YAMA group. It's actually really useful. I found out things that have helped me in my role, things that people share, good practice, links, ideas. So that's probably quite a good group to join if you would feel that you'd like some more support with academic advising. Finally, the feedback at the end is something that if you wouldn't mind doing, I'd quite like you to feed back to the Academic Advisor Toolkit team if there's anything that you have spotted or would be interested in or think needs adding. That will be good to go there. So I'm going to go back up to the emergency, what to do in a crisis or emergency. So as I said, I will be doing a session on the counselling services and resources available, but I just wanted to talk you through some of the resources on here, should there be an instance that you have to deal with regard to this. And I think at the moment, obviously, the pressure on students and ourselves is a little higher than normal. First of all, what you do in a crisis, and I think for many of us, we're quite clear about that, whether it's ringing 999, whether it's taking any of the other actions that are suggested on here. And that's sort of a more extreme action that you have to take. But keep going past that and go underneath. Oops, where's it gone now? Action the crisis, bear with me. The one I want to find, it's here, I know it is, it's here. Under Wellbeing and Support, it talks about the step care model, but keep going down here, and at the bottom of here, further training for us in different areas. Now, last year, I was approached with some advice about somebody's academic advisee who was suffering some sexual harassment in their halls of residence, and I hadn't personally come across how to deal with that before. And I wasn't aware that we now have this response and advice team who do deal with such instances. So find, again, on this website, you'll find things you didn't know existed and support and advice for you. And when you come across new issues that students can bring to you, and how we can be trained or get support and help in those areas as well. So I'm going to stop sharing. So that's kind of a very brief talk through of some of the resources available. And obviously you've had a little chance to click and look through those. I'm going to stay on now at the end if there's anyone who wants to have any questions or comments. And I kind of would save that link on my favourites bar as well. So if I am advising, I know how I can access that really quickly. So the session is over, but if you do want to stay behind, please do. And thanks for coming, everybody.